something tragic happened. My mom passed away when I was 17 years old. And like
Sorry
2 or 3 years, it's all good. 2 or 3 years, we lost the house afterwards. My sister inherited it. She was 19. I'm 17. She couldn't pay the mortgage on the expensive home.
Property taxes.
Yeah, property taxes, mortgage was still kicking. And my pops pulled money from the property when it went up crazy in value. And he was doing, flipping bricks with the money, doing other stuff with the money. So we lost the property, but it got demolished and replaced by these like new, and we had a huge lot, like a corner lot, like I think 5 houses were placed on our lot.
Wow, y'all house was that big?
It was huge. So we had a huge front yard. It was a corner lot, huge front yard, like 4-bedroom house, huge backyard, and an ADU in the back. Like from the 90s, old Belizean woman converted the garage to like ADU way back in the day. Lost all that, but in the process, I'm sitting here. I interviewed like the developer, like when everything got set up and they were marketing to sell it. I'm like, man, how did you do this with the asking him? But he doesn't know I used to, I grew up here. Right. I celebrate my Christmas here, this and that. And now I'm at UCLA. My mom's born at UCLA, but I'm at UCLA studying real estate development now. But it was like a spark in my mind, like, damn, I want to be on the other side of this. I don't want to be getting the shorthanded stick. I don't want to be the one that's getting gentrified. Right. I want to see how I can empower people. And then that comes with living rent free and the brand, helping people close properties all over the nation during the pandemic. People that look like me from better circumstances, equal or less circumstances. So, man, that's the story, man, to bring it back. Man, y'all getting me emotional, man.
You need to write a script behind that, especially in LA, man. Yeah, I'm like, you know what? I'm like, man, do you have photos of what that house looked like back in the day?
Yeah, we got it. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, hey.
Fruit trees and all that.
Send that to us.
We used to have a party.
I would love to see a before and after, like a picture of what that lot looked like, 15 years ago or whatever, how long ago, and what it looks like now that it's been redeveloped. Right. Because that actually is, and we talked about this in previous episodes about appreciation. Okay. So appreciation is you buy a property at a certain price, and as that price rises, that's appreciation. So so for everyone listening, if you buy a property for $200,000 and the following year it's worth $250,000, and 2 years later it's worth $300,000, and 3 years later it's worth that means that your property is appreciating in value. And that's the equity that you're looking for. So and there's two things that we're always looking for. We're either looking for cash flow or we're looking for equity. Right. And if you really hit the home run, you're getting both. And the triple play before the home run is if you have someone else paying that mortgage for you. Yes. Okay. This is my life. And that is living rent free. So before we get into that though, I want to get into Anton's definition of the day. Well, the definition of the day is house hacking. And simply put, house hacking is a strategy that involves renting out portions of your primary residence to generate income that is used to offset the cost of your mortgage and other expenses associated with owning a house. Meaning if you own a house, renting out rooms in that house. If you own a 2-unit, 2-family, 2-flat, depending on where you live in the country, Chicago, 1 unit is going to be paying that mortgage. The other one that you're living rent free. Living rent free. I'm shocked that was still available as a handle. You actually got that living rent free. I'm jealous. Like, man, I would love to have living rent free as a handle. So let's talk about that. Actually, I kind of feel like this could be your dream, plan, execute moment. So when we talk about dream, plan, execute moment, can you tell us something you dreamed of doing, how you planned, to do it? What was the plan? And then, when you executed it, what that experience was like. Can you, in reference to this whole living rent free?
Yeah, man, it was a long journey, bro. So, how do I play it? So I'm in DC and I'm graduating, right? There's this picture of me. There's probably 400 people at the graduation. We're all celebrating at Howard, right? But I'm unorthodox. I'm different. I always stand out. I stand on my chair, right? The photographer is running up. Everyone's celebrating, throwing their caps up. But I look like I'm 8 feet tall. Hands up. I'm yelling, celebrating. Boom, snapshot. But now it's time to go home in 2012 to get to LA and figure out how am I gonna survive. I told you my pops is You know, he's living rent free, but he's off, you know, doing his drug dealing. He's living his life. My mom passed away. How am I gonna make it in LA, and own some of the roots from where I descend, what I call home, and I didn't have a game plan, bro. I didn't know what I was gonna do. Yeah. But I started working as a dietitian, but I ended up living in a suburb, Palmdale, Lancaster area. It's like 45 minutes outside of LA, and I was trying to eliminate my rent cost, my largest bill, my largest expense. And the reason is I'm working as a professional. I got my income, but I'm doing my budget. I'm looking at my savings every month. I'm barely saving anything because all my money's going to rent. Fast forward, I find out about this house hacking thing, but it wasn't called house hacking back in the day. It was just buy a house, get some roommates, or get a duplex, rent out one side, whatever. It wasn't coined like that. Bought the house, rented out the rooms, went extremely well, loved it. But then I went to come down the hill and come home and still face that dilemma. How do I get that piece of land in LA in my home? I thought it was an impossibility until I was on the phone one day with a broker, or who I thought it was going to be a broker, but I was on the phone with a secretary. Secretary's talking about me pulling money out of that first property, buying more property. And I was like, you know what? This sounds all good, but my dream was to get a 4-unit triplex, a multi-unit in LA where I'm from, but I know it's impossible because of the prices. You won't believe what she told me. She told me I'm 27 and I own 2 4-units in LA. And this is LA.
That's what she said.
That's what she told me. Yeah. So mine's blown. So I'm like, it's possible. I can get that. I can get that land in LA, in my city. I can see the Hollywood sign on a clear day. You know, I can go to the beach. I can go snowboarding the same day. It's possible. She tells me about FHA. Tells me about these different neighborhoods I wasn't familiar with. And I just wrote it down in my journal, man. I thought it would take me a year. It took me like a year and a half, almost 2 years. But I ended up going through the NACA program. I didn't use FHA, but I ended up selling that first property, working side hustles, working 3 jobs at one point, stacking up money. Looked at over 100 deals, wrote offers, got my real estate license, wrote my own offers. Just doing all kind of shit, man. Excuse my language, but going through hell, driving in neighborhoods, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like you relived it for a moment right there.
There you go. Losing deals. I lost a deal. My family moved from the South to Detroit and then from Detroit to LA to an area called Arlington Heights, Jefferson Park. I was in escrow in this beautiful triplex in Jefferson Park. This is down the street from my father grew up, all my aunts and uncles. My grandmother still lives over there. I'm in escrow, man. Just beautiful. Taking pictures in front of it, imagining it.
Right, okay.
Fell through on my birthday.
Dang, not your birthday.
No, it wasn't on my birthday. It's Valentine's Day. My birthday's on the 15th of February. Girls calling me. I don't know who's going to be seeing this, but you know who you are. What's going on Valentine's Day? I'm shedding tears. I'm literally shedding tears. Yo, I can't do this no more. I'm about to give up. I'm about to get an apartment. My brothers come. I got 2 younger brothers. They grab my shoulders. I'm usually the leader. They're like, man, you can't give up. You the one that's always spiriting the family, pushing us forward. Don't give up.
Right.
The next day I looked at some properties, man, found a property that I have now, put in an offer, got accepted a few days later. And that's the short version of
and it made it to closing.
The dream, man. It made it to closing, man.
How long ago was that?
That was May of 2019.
Okay.
Nice. Yeah. Nice. So it's been 18 months? Yeah. And I want to say shout out to LA equity, real estate appreciation is up.
Yeah.
Guess how much it's up in 18 months?
Knowing LA?
Yeah, guess how much?
10%?
Right.
You gonna say 10 as well? You gotta guess
it's
that you're a twin.
It's way more than that.
You gotta guess that you're a twin. You gotta guess too.
Okay, I will go with 11%.
It's up almost 30%.
What?
30% value translate to almost 200 racks in 18 months. That's appreciation. That's not living rent free. That's not cash flow. That's not tax benefits.
You're getting all of that too.
That's not somewhere to live. Thanksgiving, we had Thanksgiving at my house last year. That's none of that. That's just appreciation equity.
Man, not a single, not a double, not a triple, but a home run.
Yeah, absolutely.
Man, I love it, bro. That is what I'm talking about. This is an example of why we had this podcast, for stories like that. And the thing is, this is a fact. Like, this isn't like, oh, so we brought an actor in here because we're in Hollywood. Real. No, this this actually happened.
And to give levity, give some idea, like a building that we bought in 2014, so we're talking about 6 years ago, bought for 153. It right now appraises at 215. So, I mean, clearly not as big as appreciation as what you're talking about, but all across the country, it can still happen. You all need to look at it.
Right. There's some great possibilities. So, we talk about it, FHA loans, 203K renovations loans, how you can purchase property and renovate. But we never actually had anybody come on here and talk about NACA. So with NACA, you actually took some classes or something like that, because I haven't gone through the process. I've read about it, but it's worth it.
It's beyond worth it. I mean, you guys just heard $200,000 in equity. Not just that, I think they put up like $60,000 for the down payment.
I was gonna say down payment assistance,
lender fees, appraisal fees, all that stuff they pay for. But this is a crazy thing. Talking about the story in the homecoming. Even after I had that, or the dream and the plan and execution, even after I had that conversation with Lauren, was her name. Shout out to Lauren. She changed my life, and I'm still in communication with her. I still couldn't figure out the FHA thing, because with FHA in LA, I mean all across the nation, but in LA you need 3.5% down. You need some of the closing costs. You can negotiate some of the closing costs, but then you need the reserves stacked up because it's a multi-unit. She's like, oh, just get the gift from the fam. But she doesn't know the early story. The early story, what I said with Pops. Mom's gone, this and that. So I'm like,
can't get the money from
I'm like, fuck, how am I gonna figure this out? But I'm just determined, I'm dogged. So anybody who's listening to this, anybody who's seeing this, you may not be where I'm from, right? You may be in Chicago trying to figure it out. You may be a single mom trying to figure it out. But there's a route to figuring it out. And that's when I heard of NACA. I kept hearing about NACA. Somebody closed in DC. NACA. No down payment, no close cost. Somebody was in Jersey. NACA, living rent free. They didn't call it living rent free, but whatever. And I'm like, let me look into this NACA thing, man. It's too good to be true. It's not. Only downside and the con, I guess there's a few, but the major one is that it takes forever. It takes like 6 months to close. With COVID, it's gonna take you like 8 to 12 months because of all the delays. But 60 bands, you know what I mean? Like 2% interest rate. Even in this climate, 2% is crazy.
Rate is
phenomenal.
Incredible. I know somebody got a 1% in Chicago, where y'all from, and he got $1 million property with NACA.
Really?
Yeah, it's a cold program, man. And a lot of African Americans, I think it's like 85% of us going through the program, because specifically we were targeted during the mortgage crisis. Equity stealing, I guess you could say, targeting people that didn't have that same kind of education during that crisis. So, so yeah, man, it's an amazing program.
Man,
with NACA, can you own property, or you have to not have any deeds in your name?
So basically, you can have any ownership interest in any type of property while you're going through NACA, unless you've inherited the property. So some people, but if you really frame it from their perspective, you're basically getting a property almost for nothing. So that means if you guys own six properties, you went through NACA, they just handed you another property. That's not how it really works. You know what I mean? But
don't use us as an example.
I
want a property too on another one.
You're innocent. No. But people got to see, like, I mean, this is an amazing program. So I gave up the peanuts. I sold my property in the suburbs to get the multi-unit, to get that $200,000 in equity in 18 months. So I think over a 2-year period, when I owned the other property, it only went up $85,000. So
only,
which is still okay.
Only $85,000.
But remember what I said. This is where I come from. These are my C's. It's 10 years. We went from 190,000 to 1.2 million. So that's my standard. That's my homecoming. That's where I come from.
It's all relative, y'all.
It's all relative.
Yeah. So
I'm telling you, it took 6 years for mine to appreciate. 60,000, 65,000. It took you 1 year. All right.
But it's LA though, man. It's LA. I mean, you seen the beaches. I mean, it's beautiful women. It's food. It's all kinds of stuff here. You know what I mean?
You know what I like about your optimism? And I don't really hear this optimism on like in New York. Like there's some big cities. Or even in Chicago, for that matter, even though in Chicago, there's tremendous opportunity in Chicago. So that's the reason why, because there's so many neighborhoods different neighborhoods have different, prices. We call it an A, B, C, or D type of neighborhood. Right. So there's tremendous opportunity, but I thought LA was like New York as far as, it's impossible to get it in LA City proper or whatever. But you're like, no, it's not. It's not impossible.
I think I always talk about this. This is what Lauren told me. Is because as soon as Lauren sparked that flame, it was over. It was over for me. I was like, if she could do it, she did it twice. It's done. Right, and I want to say this with the Living Rent Free brand. There's 2 people I know that own in New York. Somebody I'm going to interview just bought a multi-unit in Brooklyn. Somebody else I already interviewed outside of New York and Yonkers, so it's a little bit further out.
They use that,
but FHA. Both of them use FHA in New York, so it's possible.
Right.
It's possible.
Hey, it's
I'm
possible.
gonna tell you, my first 3 unit, FHA, 3.5% down, refinanced out of it so that I can be eligible for FHA again. The second one, buy the second 3 unit, right? Or three family triplexes. You was talking about triplexes,
yeah. And I did the same thing. So
right,
it's. I mean, of course, you gotta. If he does it, I got to do it.
Well, he had it was 4 units in that.
Who did it first? You did it first?
I did it
first. Okay, got it.
Did you do it first? Did you? Because I bought a property first.
You're talking about a condo. I thought we were talking about
the multi. You got to step the game up.
Okay. Yeah. Well, if we're going to argue about this, at least we all successfully across the board. Look at this. 3 brothers.
But he was first. No.
See, man, I was trying to tie this together with a nice bow.
Let's do it. Bring it together, brother. Bring it together.
But for real, if you're listening to this, there's 3 guys up here right now. 3 brothers, 3 African American men.
Yes.
In the United States, in 2 big cities, Chicago and LA. Circumstances different, but we found our way to purchasing properties with FHA, with the NACA program. Somebody is listening to this, or if you're listening, you need to send this episode to someone who needs to hear this, because we are telling you what's possible. And that's the reason why we had this podcast. Homecoming with the Downing Brothers is because we want all of you to go to your own home. We want you to figure out how you're going to be able to get some equity. How you're going to be able to get some of this appreciation, how you're going to get some cash flow. And real estate is a very powerful tool. And that's what these stories are about, man. This is what gets me fired up. I get fired up, man, when I hear about this, because we know we're not the only ones. We're not the only ones, but this story isn't being told enough. You know what I'm saying? So I thank you for giving us that story.
Thank you for the invite, brother.
Man, for real. For real, and I want you all to come see us in person. All 3 of us will be together in 2021. So you'll get a chance as soon as COVID is under control. We gonna so you can come and see us in person, man. Let me ask you this: when you hear the word homecoming, what's the first thing that comes to mind?
My mother.
Man, your mother. Tell us more about that.
Well, your mother, man. It's mine specifically. It's like the first person you love. It's that unconditional love. You know what I mean? So hard times, good times, somebody you can tell anything to, you know what I mean? And just know that you can confide in that person, and that it won't be, it won't be judgments. And if it is, it's just temporary. It's going to be followed by that love. Right. And so as soon as you said that, just homecoming, literally I was thinking about, coming home and seeing my mother. So that's the thing.
Man, powerful.
That's it.
Yeah. I mean, homecoming means different things to different people. As we've gone through this homecoming journey, we've talked about high school homecomings. Right. We talked about college homecomings. All right.
HU.
There are military homecomings. People come home and you see people, their kids and their wives and whoever running into their arms, those military homecomings. And then we have family homecomings. And that's what you just spoke about, family. You know what I'm saying? We got those weddings. We've got those family reunions. You know what I mean? We have those. We got funerals. But which doesn't have to be a bad thing. It's a celebration. It's a celebration. But all of these different types of homecomings, and then we have the homecoming that everyone hasn't experienced necessarily yet. But when you buy your own property for the first time, and you're standing in there alone. Everyone is left, and you're in this empty house, and you got the keys, you got the deed, the title. Keys. That is a homecoming that I want everyone to get a chance to experience someday. There's a power in that type of homecoming. Yeah. Do y'all feel me? Are y'all listening right now? Do y'all feel that energy? I want all of you to experience all of these different types of homecomings, including when you get to own your own home one day.
And make sure y'all take that picture inside the home and in front of it, especially if it's a 3-unit building.
And send it and tag the Downing Brothers.
Gotta do it.
Gotta do it. All right, so before we go, one of the things we always ask people, are there any charitable organizations you want people to know about?
Yes. So I did mention my mom. She passed away from breast cancer. So American Cancer Society is cancer.org. Please donate.
Thank you. Please go there. We always want charitable organizations. I mean, if 2020 hasn't shown us anything, it's that people need help. Yeah. And if you happen to be one of those fortunate people that has an extra $1, or if you have some extra time to volunteer, please do. We want everyone to support these charitable organizations in these tough times. So, wait, I want you to tell people where they can find you, because
your Instagram, your website.
Don't you have courses and stuff
all
like
of that?
Yeah, so I'll just say it like this. Look, come to my page, Living Rent Free. It's at Living Rent Free, no G. You can find me on Twitter, also on Instagram. When you go to the Instagram page, you'll get tons of free game. I got a year's worth of content for free. If you think you want a course and you want to close on a multi-unit, maybe this year, next year, click the link in the bio. You can grab my courses on house hacking. We got people closing on properties all across the nation. In fact, on the way here, I got a text from one of my students saying she just successfully closed on a duplex. So you can check it out if you like.
It ain't an if. Y'all want to buy the course.
Right.
You want to buy the course.
Buy the course.
Check the game out first on the page.
That's right. All right. So, hey, this I feel like has been a special homecoming with the Downing Brothers. We are in LA. We're experiencing it in a different way, and we're meeting people from LA that are doing some powerful things in real estate. So again, I appreciate you, brother, for coming through.
Pleasure.
You know what I'm saying? It's definitely been a blessing.
Yeah.
You guys, this isn't it. I want you guys to, come to Anthony's After Set. Thank you for sticking around for Anthony's After Set. Well, today, what I want to talk to you guys about is allowing people to live rent-free in your mind. You can't allow anyone to live rent-free in your mind because you're wasting energy, negative energy. You want to keep your vibes up. You want to do things that are positive, that are bringing you cash flow, whether it's money or it's mental energy. So you can't necessarily let anyone live rent-free in your mind. You need to focus on the things that are positive, people who are giving you positive affirmations, people who are giving you opportunities. Keep it on the things that are going to move your life forward, because when you're letting people live rent-free in your mind with negativity, you're not making progress. You're not. You're just stuck in a negative way, hot, mad about things that you have no control over. You do have control over yourself, though. That is the one thing you do have control over. So if anyone's going to live rent-free, it should be you, because you own yourself, you own your business, you own your property, and you should be living rent-free, as everyone else pays your mortgage. And that's Anthony's After Set. Thank you for tuning in to Homecoming with the Downing Brothers.
Thank you for tuning in to Homecoming with the Downing Brothers podcast. For more information on how to dream, plan, execute in real estate, business, and financial literacy, visit www.TheDowningBrothers.com.